This is about approval and sign-off. So, whether we're talking about signing off a piece of design, signing off a technical spec, signing off whatever, sign-off is a big problem, isn't it? And there is actually some stuff you can do to make sign-off go smoother and to make that whole process work much better. So let's talk a little bit about that. First of all, you need to work out who the real decision maker is, which you guys were talking about in your presentation earlier. It's so important, and you were spot on, and I 100% agree with you, that if the person that you're dealing with isn't always the decision maker. They appear it. I mean, we have this particularly as a problem as an outside agency. It's even worse for us. Because we'll have some project manager, it's one of you guys, come to us. And we're engaging with you guys and everything's going great and you're getting really enthusiastic and you're really happy with it. And then we discover you're just some flunky and actually there's somebody more powerful up the chain who looks at the thing halfway through the project and goes, no, that's not at all right, so we don't want to go down that route. So you need to find out who the real decision maker is. But interestingly, the real decision maker is not always the most powerful person. And that's an easy thing to fall into. Sometimes the real decision maker is the Vice Chancellor's daughter's nephew, who is shown the website with no context, no background, no information whatsoever, and goes, I don't like that. And then the Vice Chancellor goes, well, she's an example of the undergraduate audience we're trying to reach, and why is it that she doesn't like it? All right? So you kind of need to delve a little bit deeper and find out who the real decision maker is. That's step one. Step two is I find that it's really helpful to have a very regimented process. Okay? So if somebody's coming to you asking for an internal client, in effect, if an internal client's coming to you, sit them down right at the beginning of the project and say, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. We want to check with you at this stage, and this stage, that you're happy with the way things are going. This is the process to work through. Now the reason that's important is because what you're doing there is you're demonstrating, I am the expert. I know what I'm doing, I'm in control of this. You don't need to worry. Because a lot of the problems arise because your internal client is worried. They're worried about the project, they're worried about the fact that they're not in control. This makes them feel more in control. Right, another thing that I find very useful is to focus people on the right thing, right? So often when you're trying to get sign-off, it turns into this personal opinion thing. Do you know what I mean? Well, I don't think that's a good idea. Or, I like that design, but I don't like this. Or, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Or, I don't understand this techie thing, but that seems awfully expensive. Right? So what you need to do is you need to focus your internal client on what matters. Right? And so we set our clients down at the beginning of the process and we say, right, this is your job. Your job is to focus on business objectives and user needs. Right? We'll deal with everything else. So with business objectives, you need to be saying to them, you know, what are your business objectives for the project? Is what we're showing you in line with those business objectives? Who are your users? What are they wanting to achieve? And is what we're showing you in line with their needs? So at no stage are you focusing on personal opinion. You're focusing them on what matters, which is business objectives and user needs. Right, so when you deal with the feedback mechanism, right, when you get to the feedback part of the process, the worst thing you can do is send through your technical spec or your design or whatever else, attached to an email, and then you say, what do you think of this? Right? Worst thing you can do. The reason being, well, there's a number of reasons. The worst thing you can do is actually say, here's my first draft of XXX. What do you think of this? That's even worse. And the reason, first of all, it's making the assumption there's going to be a second draft, and that you haven't got it right first time, so they're going to have to pick a hole in it. Secondly, you said, what do you think of this? And actually their opinion isn't really what matters. It's whether it meets the business objectives and the user goals and that kind of thing. Thirdly, email is totally the wrong way to present anything, and you need to be doing it face to face. And fourthly, you're not giving them any guidance into the type of feedback that you're requiring from them. So they're going to fall back on their personal opinion. What you need to do instead is give them a framework for the kind of feedback you want. So I know I'm referencing design a lot, but that's because I'm a designer. But so for example, if you're presenting a design, what I tend to do is I say, I have a series of questions. So here's the new design. Is it in line with your business objectives? Right? And these are the business objectives we agreed at the beginning of the project. Is it the same as the wireframe we produced earlier? Does it reflect the wireframe we produced earlier? Does it use a similar design style to the mood boards we signed off earlier? See what I'm doing? I'm taking them through a journey, and I'm essentially showing them how I've taken all of the stuff that we agreed and we looked at earlier, and I've applied it to the design. So it's step by step by step, right? Instead of, what do you think? So having that kind of broader context with feedback is really important.